Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am the Desert Claw, and let's talk about this bombshell list of chapters, I should say, that we went through during the Arthur versus Dragon saga and finally the conclusion of it. But before I get into that, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content. Doing both helps the growth of the channel and lets more people see it, and it's greatly appreciated. So, I'm not going to go into any big details of the chapters. I want to go into some things I think might happen next. But first, so Arthur's last powerful violent flash, called Earth Divider, took out Dragon, and it cut the world in half, including, if you look at the top of this screenshot here, the top of the Adolla Eye, which has completely disrupted the cataclysm with the removal of Dragon's despair and the replacement of Arthur's massive hope. And with that, we are in uncharted territory as in terms of what's happening to Arthur's fate, as Arthur's body flies to the sun and Excalibur seemingly flies towards Earth. And he now knows that Shinra is now free, and he says he leaves the rest to him. And then we don't see what happens to Arthur next. We do know that those in the White Clad that are front and center, like Fairy, are freaked out. Sumier is freaked out. I have read chapter 273. I've seen what happens next, but I'm not here to talk about that today. That'll be the next video. So Arthur is the Night King. He's the main guy. He's off to Avalon, so to say. So let's talk about that. So Arthur's archetype is based somewhat off of Arthurian legend, or at least what he believes it to be. Clearly, in this time and place in the Tokyo Empire, that story is the mythological origins have probably been so changed, and the actual story itself might not even be available anymore, that it might just be small stories that people have changed over and over again. So, our Arthur is not the son of a king and was declared to be a bastard and was raised by Merlin, and then eventually pulled Excalibur from the stone and became the king of Britain. Arthur was raised by a quote-unquote prophet, and his parents did abandon him, and he was raised seemingly by the Holy Soul Church in the Fire Force, and the only thing he really got from his parents is the ability to use his delusion or imagination to see, I personally think, see Adolla for what it really was before it even manifested in the real world, due to the pillars being destroyed and then the actual pillars being set in stone where they're supposed to be, allowing for the complete merger of the dimensions, which I've always argued that Arthur is the smartest character in the entire series. So if we go with the legend, though, Arthur, if you're a Fate fan, you've seen this scene before, Fate Stay Night, and any of its spin-offs, but Arthur was mortally wounded by his son Mordred in a battle for the kingdom, and Arthur does take out his son Mordred, but he basically, I think, he succumbed to his wounds, and his body and soul are laid to rest on Avalon. And in the Avalon's like this mystical island that I don't think anybody can really get to. I don't think they've ever found it. I could be wrong. I think just a story. But the myth is that Arthur stays there and just rests until the day that people need him again. And we see our Arthur fly off towards the sun, which is probably not good, but that could be a quote-unquote Avalon of Fire Force. Arthur sends his blade back to where it came from. I don't know if Excalibur was technically buried with him on Avalon. I didn't look up that detail, but I don't know. But what I could see, there's a couple things I could see happening with Arthur. Either he is dead, and his will is transferred over to Excalibur, allowing, say, Shinra of all people to pick it up and use it, like Arthur would, using his plasma powers. That would be a cool twist. Arthur is not dead. He takes time to recuperate, but he comes back not as a being himself. And that's not off the wall. I mean, if you go back to the chapter, Arthur like dematerialized and materialized in what I would call his true form. We're in Adolla land right now, so common sense doesn't make any sense at all. Everything's madness. I'm surprised even Dragon was gonna die. Maybe Dragon just decided that Arthur won and he was happy with what he had, so he could move on. Otherwise, you know, because both Dragon and Arthur were doing things that no pyrokinetics have done ever, and it's because they both had a huge grasp on Adolla. So, you know, Arthur had losing his lower torso, his arm, his eye. I don't know if that matters at all in this new world. So some have speculated that Arthur's consciousness will just transfer to, let's say, a quote-unquote doppelganger, maybe, and that doppelganger will grab Excalibur, maybe. But I don't think we'll see Arthur, and I'd love to be wrong because he's like my favorite character, but I don't think we'll see Arthur until everybody needs him the most. And that could be... So if in 273, I will say this, all the pillars are out, at least the ones that are on the good guy side. You haven't seen Haumea, Sumier, or Inca yet, so I don't know what's going on with that. But Arthur is a key player when it comes to stopping Haumea. Like Haumea in Adolla land is probably extremely dangerous. So the one thing that the Dragon versus Arthur arc did is it raised the quote-unquote power levels of everybody. So you're going to see off-the-wall battles with everybody. Like the next chapter, I'm going to spoil this real quick. I'm going to spoil 273. So I'm going to talk about it in a different video, but Fairy grabs the moon and starts to bring it down onto the planet. And momentarily it looks like Maki stops it, but then you see it's Shinra, and Shinra like boots the moon back up into the air. That's how insane everything is right now. So every fight's gonna be insane. Benimaru's fights can be insane. Shinra's gonna be insane. Sho is back. That's gonna be nuts. So there's no reason to say that Haumea, who was already extremely dangerous, will be even way more dangerous. And I think Arthur's gonna be needed for her. I don't know who's gonna be able to take her out. So I don't think this is the last we've seen of Arthur, but I think it's the last we've seen of him for a while. Common sense is not common in this series. This is a world of madness, so I'm not on the Arthur is dead train. Maybe this part of his body dies, but he could easily transfer his will to the sword, to something else, or he could just manifest himself because he's already done it. He just has to take time to heal. Like in the panel, this arc, he says he needs time to like recuperate. So I don't think Arthur's gone. I'd love to have, you know, if he's gone, he's gone. I'm not gonna like curse the series for it, but I should say everything you see with your eyes right now going forward is going to betray what you see, because there are no rules anymore. So there's another thing I want to talk about too, about Arthur. And it's about the Pillar Guardians. So I've said that Shinra's Guardian has always been the entire 8th. But if you go to the wiki, they have a section for Pillar Guardians, and they label Joker as Shinra's Guardian, which could be equally true. But I'm going to posit that Arthur has always been Shinra's Guardian. He's been there the longest, since they went to the same school together, and they're in the same unit together, and they're always together. And Arthur's always calling out Shinra for when his devil side takes over, or when he, you know, gives in, because Arthur can see, he has the sight to see the real Shinra versus the devil Shinra. And it's funny here because in this chapter here, he basically calls Shinra out saying, how long are you going to keep playing devil? I became the Night King. So it's time for you, sir, to become the hero. It's time for you to set aside your past, what people called you, Stop letting that get to you, and show them who you really are. So my point is that yes, they were like friends and rivals, but Arthur was always there by his side, and not only was he defending Shinra in the battlefield, but he was also, quote unquote, being a good buddy in his own way of like calling him out whenever the devil side was starting to take over, or he'd see it. You know what I mean? Like, so I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments on who you think the Pillar Guardian is, because like I said, the wiki has Joker. There's merit to that. I've said it's the entire 8th. There's merit to that, but now I'm starting to think that Arthur was his Pillar Guardian all along. And it also made me think about Iris too. Who would Iris's Pillar Guardian be? And that would clearly be Hibana, I think, based on just the history. And Sumiera, I have no idea. But everybody's got one. So if it's Joker, it's Joker. It just seems to me that it's more appropriate for it to be Arthur. So that is what I think are the possibilities for Arthur going forward. I don't think he's dead. I can accept if he's dead, but I do think a part of him, is going to be around, or this is like the quote-unquote birth of that annoying Excalibur from Soul Eater. I don't know. I'm starting to think, you could, you see all these Soul Eater references like that. You start to say, well, maybe Fire Force is a prequel. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe they are just cameos. We have no idea. There was a quote. There was an interview with Okubo, and he let the interviewer know who the evangelist was, and apparently they were like super shocked, like it was somebody they knew. And I don't know if that means it was a character from this series or from another series. So I wouldn't completely throw out all the Soul Eater connections and possible connections of Fire Force just yet. Maybe that's what that is. I don't know. But we'll have to see. But that's all I got for this. I'm going to be talking about 273 next, and probably by the time I get that video, 274 is out, so I'll probably include stuff like that in it. But expect all the fights to get crazier. They're all going to be nuts. Everybody was awaiting bated breath to see what would happen with Shinra when he came back in 273, and it's balls to the wall crazy. So every fight's going to be like that going forward, and I totally expect a White Clad to level up, as clearly Fairy did. Clearly. Grabbing the moon and driving down to the planet. So, yep. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hit the like button for greater YouTube exposure, and subscribe for more content. I am the Desert Claw, and I hope you all have a good one. Peace.